from Hooked on Homemade Happiness. Welcome back to my channel. Today in this tutorial, I am going to show you how to do the Tunisian Crochet Simple Stitch. This is a Tunisian crochet tutorial, which is different than regular crochet. For this tutorial, I'm using worsted weight yarn and a J 6mm Tunisian crochet hook. The hook I'm using is a corded hook. This one is rather long and not quite necessary for a project this size. There are lots of different options for Tunisian hooks. There's corded hooks. There's really long, straight hooks. If you're just doing a small project, a small swatch like this, an aluminum hook like this will work just fine. You may want to put a rubber band or something as a stopper on the end, but if this is what you have and you're just doing a small swatch like this for practice, this hook will work just fine for a small swatch. As you can see with Tunisian crochet, it does like to curl. You can see how it likes to do that for sure. You can always use a smaller weight yarn or even a larger hook than what the yarn calls for to alleviate some of that curling. This stitch, Tunisian crochet, is a one-sided stitch. We will not be turning our work like regular crochet. Everything will be done with our work facing us. We're going to do what's called a forward pass and a return pass for each row. So let's get started. So I'm going to get started by getting my yarn on my hook, and I'm going to do this the same way I would with a regular crochet hook. I'm going to start with my chain. This can be any number of chains. For this tutorial, I'm going to do a chain of 10. So here is my chain of 10, and the number of chains you have is the number of stitches you will have in each row. If you've seen my videos before, then you might probably notice that I am usually a pencil grip holder with my hook, but with Tunisian, I do use a knife hold. So if you already hold your hook this way, then you're in luck. It's much more comfortable for Tunisian to hold your hook in this type of grip. But if you're usually a pencil holder like me, you might want to adjust your grip for Tunisian crochet. It's kind of hard to get those stitches gathered on your hook when you're holding your hook like this. So here I have my starting chain, and I'm going to start with what's called the forward pass. I'm just going to be gathering stitches on my hook. So here I'm going to start on my second chain from the hook. So here's the first one and my second chain here. I'm going to insert my hook into the second chain and yarn over and pull up a loop. I'm just going to leave that loop on my hook right there. I'm going to do that all the way across my row. So here's my next chain. I'm going to insert into the back bumps of my chain across. So here's my next one, yarn over and pull up a loop. So I have 3 loops on my hook. That means I have 3 stitches. This starting loop that we had counts as a stitch. So I have 3 stitches on my hook now. Insert my hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. So now I have 4. I'm going to be doing that all the way across my row for my forward pass for my foundation row. And as you work across, you should end up with the same number of stitches on your hook as number of chains as you started. So with the Tunisian Simple Stitch, you do not need any specific number or multiple of chains. Any number of chains will work for this stitch. Here's my last one. And I should have 10 loops on my hook. And I have 10 stitches now for my forward pass. Now I'm going to do what's called the return pass. I'm going to be going back the other way. I'm not going to be turning my work with Tunisian crochet. It stays facing this direction the entire time. So now I'm going to do my return pass, and for my return pass, I'm going to start with a chain 1. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops on my hook. There's 1 and 2 loops. and it creates a stitch here. So it should have a vertical bar and then kind of a chain at across the top going horizontally. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. I'm going to continue that until I run out of loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. And here is my last 2 loops. I'm going to yarn over and pull through those last 2. So there is my foundation row. And this foundation row is generally what's used for many different Tunisian crochet stitches. You'll most likely start with just this basic foundation row, and then you can do different stitches from here on out. So now we're going to continue though with just the simple stitch for this pattern. So I have 1 loop on my hook. So I'm going to start here with this vertical bar. We're going to be inserting our hook into this vertical bar again with our forward pass. And the forward pass and return pass count as 1 row. So when you're reading a Tunisian crochet pattern, the forward pass and then the return counts as 1 row. So I already have my loop on my hook. For this vertical bar, I'm going to go here. I'm going to insert my hook into that vertical bar right there. And yarn over and pull up a loop. And again, for my forward pass, I'm going to just be gathering stitches on my hook. Insert into the next vertical bar and pull up a loop. Here's my next one. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Here's the next stitch. I'm going to do this across my row to the very last one, continuing to gather those stitches on my hook as I do my forward pass. Here's the second to last one. So here I'm at my last vertical bar, my last stitch. And for the end of the row, instead of inserting into just this 1 loop, we're actually going to do it into 2. So you could see when you turn your work, there's 2 loops here. We're going to insert our hook into both of those and yarn over and pull up a loop. That's just going to give us a nice clean edge for the side of our work. So here again, you should have the same number of stitches on your hook as chains that you started with. So now I'm going to do my return pass. So I'm going to do it the same way I did in my foundation row. I will chain 1. And now I'm going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. There's 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to do that all the way across my row. Yarn over and pull through 2. Here are my last 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through those last 2. There you have row 2, consisting of your forward pass and your return pass in that same row number. So row 2, that is the pattern repeat for the Tunisian Simple Stitch. We will go through it one more time. So here's the first vertical bar. I already have a stitch on my hook for that one. I'm going to go to this next one here, insert my hook into that vertical bar and pull up a loop. And here's the next one. I'm going to do that across, gathering my stitches for my forward pass. You can see my work is already starting to curl up on me. Kind of just something that's a part of a lot of Tunisian crochet stitches. All right, here's my second to last loop, my second to last stitch. So here I'm at the end of the row, and again you could see where we have these 2 loops at the end. We're going to insert our hook into both of those and pull up our loop. Now I'm going to do my return pass for row 3. I will start with a chain 1 and then yarn over and pull through 2 all the way across my row. Here's my last 2. And there you have row 3. So you're going to continue to repeat that row until your project is the length that you are looking for. And then come on back here and I will show you how we're going to bind off our project. Here I have worked a couple more rows with this Tunisian Simple Stitch. And now I'm going to bind off this project. So to do that, it's going to be similar with how we do our forward pass for the Simple Stitch. I'm going to start again in the second vertical bar from my hook, where I'm going to insert my hook into that bar. I'm going to pull my yarn through that vertical bar and through the loop that's on my hook. I'm kind of making a slip stitch across the top to close it up. Insert my hook into that, pull the yarn through the bar and through the loop on my hook. I'm going to do that all the way across my row to close out my stitches. Inserting our hook into that vertical bar, pull the yarn through that and the loop on the hook. Here's that last one. And then the last stitch of my row, where I'm again going to insert my hook into both of those loops along the side. And then just repeat that there. And then at this point you can cut your yarn and pull it all the way through. You can see that nice clean edge we have on the side by going into both of those loops. And you have this really neat texture, a nice thick piece of fabric. Again, there is no turning, so it is just a single-sided stitch, so keep that in mind when choosing the stitch for different projects. And it will curl on you. Again, you can use a larger hook than the yarn recommends. You can use a lighter weight yarn, and blocking will also help alleviate some of the curling. This stitch does curl a lot in particular. There are other Tunisian stitches that will not curl quite as much as this one. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed learning this Tunisian Simple Stitch and that you find lots of fun projects to use it with. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.